So today we're going to be taking a look at a game that I played on Cliff, and this is kind of going to be like one of those 1 versus 30 games. Again, we're in the Hawk 30, and Cliff is one of those maps that it's a little bit tricky for a light tank, but once you understand the map, it's usually a bit easier to obviously play on it as a light tank, but even other tanks as well, right? It just takes a lot of experience to understand exactly how this map works, where all the crossfire is, etc. So what I decided to do is take this really nice little location here right by this little rock here, and this is like in F3-ish area, G3 area, and this bush is really powerful, man, because you can sit here and spot enemies. I'm just going to draw this out for you guys using my pen. So what happens here, right, is when you get to this little location here, if the enemy team ends up winning this portion of the map, well, they're going to want to come up and sit right here. And when they sit here, they're going to smack shots at your heavies and mediums and assault tank destroyers that are sitting in this location. So what's really important about taking this position on the map is that you're going to be able to keep these people lit that are going to poke here. And when they do so, your tanks will have a fighting chance over here. Now, what also happens is if people try and poke this corner, you will also light them. So you're really giving your team a big opportunity to get a lot of shots off, especially since you have tank destroyers that sit back on this hill and in this area back here. There is a big rock right here that kind of prevents these guys from getting hit in this area, but if they're stupid enough to poke like right on this corner, they will get hit by tank destroyers in the back as well. So that's kind of how this map works, and I'm going to continue just talking about map strategy. So in my eyes on this map, I ignore this portion of the map almost entirely because it ends up just becoming a stalemate over here 9 times out of 10. So what I would urge you guys to focus on is this giant square on the map. This entire area like so. Not so much a square, but whatever we'll call that for now. A shape, right? It's some sort of shape, right? So this area of the map is very important. I know it's quite a large area, but hear me out on this one, right? You basically have 3 zones on this map that I would consider to be quite vital in taking. This is, we'll just call this zone 1 for now, okay? We'll call this zone 2, and then beyond this lighthouse right here, like we'll just do this. Like this is zone 3 out here, but zone 3 is this area beyond the lighthouse, not the hill, but behind it, right? So you have these 3 areas on the map that are vital in my eyes to take, and if you lose at least 2 of them, chances are you're likely going to lose the game. Now, you might have had games where you won just one of these areas of the map, especially I would say zone 3. You can win zone 3, this portion of the map, and have a chance, because if you have a lot of people going this way, then it sort of becomes an even fight. But if you lose both zones 1 and 2, well, it becomes very challenging, right? It's kind of an even fight. Like I said, if you're coming this way or you're coming this way and you have lost both of these zones, but keep in mind, if you have lost both of these zones, it means you've lost your entire base area as well if the enemy team knows what they're doing. Because what happens on this map is when you lose this donut area, especially zones 1 again and zones 2, it means you lose this and you lose this, right? And what happens when you lose these areas is it's very easy for a light tank to poke up in this bush right here and this bush right here, or on the other side, it's also very easy for them to poke like here or poke here. And what happens is you end up losing this entire area of the map because there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, and you just have to try and fight these people off as best you can, but they have the high ground and they're going to have the advantage, right? So that's kind of how I see this map working. Again, zones 1, zones 2, and zones 3. So zones 1, 2, and 3 rather. And these are the most important parts of the map. And I would argue that 1 and 2 is more important than 3. This whole donut area here, very important, but in order to completely win zones 1 or zones 2, you kind of have to win both of them, together, if that makes sense. right? Like you can't really completely own zone 1 if you don't have zone 2, and you can't completely own zone 2 if you don't have zone 1, just because of the way they work. But hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you further, but that's the way I see this map, and that's the way I would urge you guys to play it. Really try and focus on zones 1 and 2. So now, in zones 1 and 2, this is the perfect area because you're able to spot people coming up, and you're also able to do damage to people over here. And that's why I love to take this bush, guys, because we're helping out both zones 1 and 2. We're spotting for our team here. We're even spotting this corner as well. And then if we do end up winning zones 1 and 2, well, now we have direct access to this bush right here in order to spot, we'll just call this zone number 4, okay, for this game. So that is why I would really encourage you guys just to focus on this donut that they call it. This is the donut, and then you have this other little hill right here. And this is again why light tanks love to come up to the lighthouse, because you can spot zones 2 and 3 in doing that, right? So, and even you might be able to get lucky, and if you grab a bush right here, you might even be able to spot someone over here on the tank destroyer hill. And same thing for over here, right? Type 61 is getting a shot into me here because I decided to try and take a shot at one of these guys, and I would highly encourage you to not take any shots at people that are in this area, because you're going to get lit every time you do it. So what I'm actually doing now that people know where I am, and I was lit going into here, but now I fired again, so everyone is kind of has their eyes on me, and they're like, okay, we all know where the Hawk 30 is, and everyone's trying to blind fire me, so I like to sit on the very edge here. What I do is I keep this bush in between. I just keep this bush in between me and people like this guy, and then you don't get spotted, because these guys are way too far out to spot you unless you're going to fire. And then when you do go to fire, you just kind of tuck yourself behind the bush like this, and you can see you can shoot anyone in this area and go solid bush, and you won't be spotted doing it. So I hope all of this is helping you guys to understand Cliff better. I know it's a lot of information, and I kind of chose to go about it in this way and come up with zones to make it easier for you guys to determine kind of what I'm talking about on this map. But again, I'm going to start fast forwarding. So now that we've explained everything and you understand what's going on here, but look, we get some spotting damage on the Kunze-Panzer. We're doing okay. We're at 516 damage, 723 assist. I have had a really tough time this game getting any shots into people in this area, zone 2, right? Because they're just very, very safe and passive. This is not the case all the time, right? You'll find that in some games people are very smart and don't, throw their tank away, and you want them to, but the enemy team was very smart, and clearly my team was not. The M4A1 just threw himself off the cliff, basically. He flipped himself over, and it's like, come on, man, like, I'm just begging for someone to help me out here, right? Like, all our tank destroyers are sitting back here. There's just way too many people that are camping in this game. We even have a heavy sitting at the tank destroyer hill, and the Type 61 back there, and there's just way too many people doing nothing in this game, and that's what ends up leading to the loss, because they've won everything, right? As you're seeing the map, they have zones 1, they have zones 2, and they have zones 3. And again, I don't even care about the West. Like, maybe you guys have seen games where the West has won, but to me, the West is just, it's always a stalemate, because what happens is people sit in this bush right here, and they sit in this bush right here, and it's low ground. So taking it is not that big of an advantage, because you're always going to have people that are going to sit like out here and up here, and it's just very, very easy to defend against, in my honest opinion. So we're getting some damage on the BZ, we're getting some spotting damage on the BZ, and things are going okay, right? I'm taking a shot at the Type 61 there. I'm trying to be careful and staying behind this bush, and I'm going to keep poking this to make sure that the Kunze-Panzer and this other guy here, the Hogri or whatever it is, are not continuing to poke. So what I'm doing right now is I'm holding down this entire portion of the map, and this is vital because I'm really the only one that's doing it. The only other person that's here is the Forest Spirit over in the 9 square, kind of holding down zone 3 over here, right? And so this is like, we're in a vital position right now to try and help carry this game really for our team. And as you'll see, it doesn't really work out like that. We are up 1100 HP at this point, and we're up 2 tanks, but that's soon to end because we have just lost too many vital areas of this map. So let's move on a little bit here. You can see I'm trying to get shots at these guys. Eventually, I do get spotted here, presumably by the Type 61 that lights me through the bush, and now I have to get out of here and join all my teammates on this lower ground, and we're not going to have a good time here. But what I can tell you is if this ever happens to you, there's a good location that you can go to passive scout and kind of put yourself in the middle of the action, so to speak, right? So you can come into this bush line here. You can try this one, but I think when you're right next to these buildings, it's not quite as effective. Unfortunately for me, the Hawk 30 is a little too fat to sit in here, and I'm a little uncomfortable. However, we are staying dark for the time being, but eventually I'm actually going to back out of here, knock down this tree, and sit in the tree instead. And from here, what you can spot, this zone, I mean, it really depends. It's up to you where you guys want to sit, but in this bush line, or in this tree where you see I decide to go, and what you're going to end up being able to spot from here is people that are going to poke right here, and they're going to poke up like that. Anyone who's going to be here, any light tank that's going to be on the hill, and you'll also spot like anybody in this area as well. So it's kind of it's more than the best of both worlds, right? You're spotting like 4 different areas at once. So that's why I like to come here. It's a very defensive location, but you will see that my tank destroyers are just not that great. This ends up becoming one of those like 1v30 situations, as some people like to say, and yeah, like no one can really do anything with this team. People are missing shots at the G-Sor, and then the Ho-Ri comes around finally. He ends up sitting like right here, and nobody can hit him either. And I'm trying to rely on my team to do this damage. The Ho-Ri sitting right here. We got the G-Sor, and watch this Ho-Ri poke around this corner. He pokes here. I'm spamming him on the map. He gets a shot into the Skoda, he gets another shot into the Skoda, he gets a shot into the Type 61 right here, and cleans up both of these guys, and it's like, come on, man. Like, can anyone even get one shot into this guy? Please, like, help me out, man. So what I decided to do is take an aimed shot at the Gorilla 15. It actually misses. I was surprised because I aimed it fully and he wasn't even moving, but it still missed. And now I'm going to run off here. And I see that the G-Sor is coming around, so I'm going to smack a shot into him. There's 5 seconds left in this game. I start running down to try and stay safe from the Gorilla, and I'm going to see if I can get a snapshot real quick at this guy, but the way the bloom kind of worked there, it looked like I had the shot, but I just, when you go around the corner and you're in your own view, man, the reticle's kind of dancing around. I tried to get a shot into this Ho-Ri real quick. See, he flipped over as well, and I just wasn't able to hit it. But we ended up with 1295 damage and 1784 assists, guys, and that's the game. So again, I hope this helps you out on this map. Again, I would completely avoid the western part of this map, and again, just focus on these zones right here. 1, 2, and zone 3 over here. You want to try and focus on these areas of the map because these are the areas of the map that are going to win you the game. And again, I emphasize zones 1 and 2 because if you're able to win zones 1 and 2 fast enough, then you will have this one and you'll have this little area 1 over here, and you're able to light up this entire area of the map on this side and on the opposing side of the map as well. And that's what's going to win you these games on Cliff. In my opinion, somebody else might have, a different opinion on this map. I usually also try and stay away from the hill. I don't like taking the risk and going up here. It's better, in my opinion, to try it from the north spawn only because I'm always going here from the south spawn. But, you guys can try what you want to try. You might have different experiences on this game, but that's what I'm going to say to try to help you guys out on the map Cliff. So let's take a look at the end plates real quick, and then I will let you guys go. So here we go. This ended up being a draw. Obviously, 2158 spotting was the total, 1583 damage. We were top by experience here. By damage, maybe third or whatever. This team wasn't great, but I tried my best to, get us the win here. Just wasn't quite enough. And 5,500 coin we made from this. Again, a full 15-minute game, obviously a draw, and we are getting like, what, 3,800 combined, so this wasn't bad for a loss on Cliff. That's all, guys. If you enjoy the content, do sub. It really, really helps me out. If you want to like, comment, and share the video, that'll also help out, but it helps other people out as well because it actually recommends the video more, so more people can see it. And, I'm all about trying to make the most out of that YouTube algorithm. So any questions, just comment below, guys. I will get back to you. I can answer any questions you might have about the game mechanics, tanks, the map, whatever you guys need, let me know and I will get back to you. And that's all. I will see you guys very soon for the next one. Take care now and bye-bye.